All right, everybody. Welcome. I'm so glad everyone's been around today for the very first Adobe Developers Live online conference. It's great for everybody to be able to get together, and when we can't actually get together in person, which I don't know about you all, but I am missing. And I have several guests with me from our program, our partner acceleration program today. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to let people go around. Unfortunately, I have a total of 5 other people to participate, and I can't have everyone in at the same time. So I'm going to let Noah and Sam introduce themselves and their companies first, and then I will work with Sergey to get him in, and we'll go from there.
Good enough. My name is Sam Chika. I'm the CEO of ObjectWave. ObjectWave has been a e-commerce provider for quite a while now, probably close to 13, 14 years, and a partner with Magento for the last 6 or 7 years. I'm excited to be here. Thanks, Ben, for the opportunity. Looking forward to the discussion.
Cool. And Noah.
Hey, thanks, Ben. And Sam. I'm Noah Okenberg. I'm co-founder, CEO of Above the Fray. We are an end-to-end e-commerce agency headquartered here in Portland, Oregon, with satellite office in Miami and in the Philippines. And been in the e-commerce world for quite some time, but my business partner, Aaron Hunt, and I founded Above the Fray just a little over 3 years ago. And like Sam said, I'm very glad to be not only here today to talk about it, but also to have been a part of this program for the past several months.
Okay, and Noah, thank you for the intro. And then Joy, why don't we go with you, since you are also from Above the Fray?
Yeah, so hello guys. I'm Joy Kakwikla. I'm working as a Magento backend developer from Above the Fray. And since June, I've been participating in the this partner program, and yeah, I'm excited to be here and answer the questions. Thank you.
Cool, thank you. And then our good friend Chika, who's been involved in contribution and so many things in the past. Tell us a little bit about yourself.
Thanks, Ben. Hi, everyone. I'm Chika Mishra. I'm working as a senior software developer at Commerce, and Commerce is based in India, the e-commerce agency, and I'm working as a software developer on Magento from last 5 years. I also work on Magento contributions and so work as a quality maintainer at Magento GitHub. And thanks, Ben, for inviting me here.
Okay, very cool. And then we also have, I know in backstage here is Sergey Kovalenko, so we're working on getting Sergey added to the meeting, but I want to keep things moving forward. So first, I wanted to start with our 2 kind of agency heads here, Noah and Sam, and wanted to just begin by asking you, as far as this program goes. So actually, I'll do a little introduction. So we had an announcement, Magento. We had an announcement a little while ago where we, at the beginning of the pandemic, where we had realized, and we're hearing from the ecosystem that that there was substantial risk. Basically, I don't care how smart you are in business, no one can predict a worldwide pandemic and its effects on the market. And certainly at the beginning of the pandemic, people weren't saying like, oh, hey, now's the perfect time for me to take a lot of capital and invest that into, whatever projects I have. And so we were hearing that our partners were concerned. And we actually, even further, we heard that, that they might have to start furloughing or laying off employees, or, reduce their employment substantially. And for us, that's a risk, and not only just to our partners' businesses, but that's a risk to the whole ecosystem, because anyone who's been a Magento developer for any is just how much special knowledge you get. And one of the things that would have been a real tragedy is if someone, had to leave their job in the Magento ecosystem and just take work somewhere else. That's a big loss for all of us, I think. So we at Magento established a fund and reached out through our partner program to essentially kind of take on and be able to fund kind of keeping developers fully employed while they worked with us on accelerating our partner roadmap. So with that brief intro, why don't I ask my agency heads, like, how is this program factored into your 2020 fiscal year?
Noah or myself? Or who?
Well, I'll throw it out. Free fall. Sam, go for it.
Yeah.
All right. Well, for us, it was a godsend, and I think I've told you this, Ben. It's financially, when COVID hit, we found ourselves with a lot of B2C customers, and as you can imagine, I had customers that had hundreds of stores, and suddenly they had to close them all down. And although their e-commerce channel, their digital channel, was really the only source of revenue, they just had to do kind of like a wholesale stop of every kind of third-party activity that can exist. And unfortunately, we ended up having a lot of customers like that, and unfortunately, we ended up finding ourselves with no revenue opportunity, and a bunch of engineers that are incredibly skilled, and you don't want to lose that mind trust. So when Adobe presented this opportunity, of course we jumped on it, and we were fortunate enough to get several people into the program. And when the thing started, my whole attitude was, let's just preserve jobs, as many jobs as we can preserve. And because of the program, we were able to do that. So we're really grateful that Adobe allowed us to participate, but had the foresight to understand that the ecosystem is really the strength of their product line. So they understood they needed to have partners into the program when the pandemic was over, and I congratulate them to basically have the foresight to be able to do it.
Yeah, it was I mean, I can say internally it was a very quick, like, hey, we're hearing about this. And it was just a bunch of people. It was actually classic Magento. I mean, this goes back to like my very first time visiting the Magento offices in 2010. It just, everybody, it didn't matter where you were in the company. Everyone could just go to each other and just get stuff done. And this seemed like an initiative where several people came together and said, hey, this is a thing. Let's see what we can do. Noah, how does Sam's experience kind of match with what you all are experiencing this year?
For sure. Yeah. And a lot of similarities. You were just mentioning kind of how this came together. It kind of sounds like the first iteration of the CARES Act, but our own version. But in a lot of ways, and that was something that we took advantage of as well as the PPP loan. That and this program were the bridge over sort of troubled waters for Above the Fray. We had been experiencing steady growth, and we were staffing up for that, and we had just brought on a few folks to the team, right prior to the shutdown. And so we were definitely facing with furloughs. Most of our client base, we work with a lot of manufacturers, a lot of B2B. And, of course, while, e-commerce is booming and has been booming since, especially since, since the shutdown, when you're dealing with that kind of direct supply chain or food chain, as you might call it, it took a very tangible, immediate effect, as in a couple large projects that we had slated, with the pen literally hovering above the paper, just pulled the pen away. Most of our ongoing clients pulled back their work, paused it entirely for their, monthly M&C work. And so this really allowed us to not have to furlough a single person. And so that was huge. The team came together. We did have to sort of, tighten the belt a little bit, but we knew that there was going to be the pendulum swing, right? There was going to be the people that were done being shell shocked and were like, it's human nature. Let's see where we can go. And digital commerce, online commerce was a natural place where people are going to turn once they, realize that a lot of like in-person transactional commerce is shut down. We just had to ride that storm out a little bit, and that's precisely what this helped us do.
And I might just add, Ben, real quick. I mean, we have multiple platforms that, we're partners with, et cetera. No other, and I've heard of no other platform provider out there doing a similar thing. So, like I said, you guys stand alone, and congratulations. It really did help. At least in our case, it really did.
Well, that means a lot. I mean, I think, we, the Magento team, as part of Adobe, we're a pretty proud bunch and pretty strongly oriented towards our brand. Anyone who's been in the Magento ecosystem knows how proud we are of the things that we get to do. And I'm glad that we were able to make a difference quite a lot. So Noah and Sam, I'm going to take both of you out of the meeting just so I can bring in Sergey, Sam, one of your colleagues at ObjectWave. But just stick around for a little bit, just in case we have any questions. But thank you both. Thank you both for your feedback and for your company's participation.
Yeah, thanks, Ben.
Okay, now I think most interesting to everyone, waiting in the audience here. Are people wondering, like, what is this program like on the inside, right? So when we brought in people with all sorts of background and experience, and I think now we've benefited from having you involved since I think since about June was when we started onboarding everybody. So Joy, I will throw out to you. Now that you've been working actually on the Magento product itself, closely with our internal team, how is working with the Magento team different from your work on, like, your day-to-day work on merchant sites?
I think it's mostly on the feeling, because I've been a Magento developer for like 3 years only. So upon knowing that I get to work with the people who are behind the platform that we're trying to customize on our company, it's a different. It's really different because you know that you'll be challenged at some point, and then at the same time you will learn a lot from it. So yeah, that's the difference that I've experienced when I started here.
Yeah, so you can confirm that it is challenging, right? It is different.
Yes, it is. It sounds like that.
Okay, Chika, I'll go to you next. I mean, same question. How is this? You've been involved with contribution, so I know you've worked closely with community engineering, but I'm just curious. Now that you've worked kind of in this way, adjacent to, kind of basically part of a team. What is that like compared to your past experience at Shed Commerce?
Like, basically the thing is that, like, currently which product I'm working as a FAB through partner acceleration program, that is basically different from ideal what Magento is. So it's kind of something related to DevOps and some testing and some upgrade related scenario. So it was quite new to me, but ultimately it is Magento, so it's quite familiar to work with it. Like, I'm working with in a Magento, but not in the same way that I work in my organization. And also, apart from the Magento, I was working on PWA. So it's been quite a time that I was working on Magento, but I came back to Magento and in some different way related to some different products. So at the starting, it was quite challenging, and like I was not quite comfortable at beginning. But after a week or two, I got full confidence that, like, yeah, that is going to be something interesting, and it's really great experience, and I'm learning all the day new things. Like, I'm working on new things, and that is challenging as well, and that is also something that I can relate. So it's challenging, but it's quite interesting. It has become interesting due to such an environment. Like, the people around me, whatever the team is very supportive and helpful, and they are ready to guide us every way. So it has become interesting, and it's quite like great experience to work with it. But it is completely different what I work in my organization.
I can imagine so, and I guess if we were actually providing a full perspective here, we would have brought in some of the engineering managers or some of your teammates from the Magento team who worked with you together. I know I have conversations, I have meetings with them weekly, because after Alexei Korshenko, who laid all the groundwork for getting this program up and running, I've been involved since then. And it's been interesting hearing their feedback that there was a lot of, they really ended up turning into doing a lot of mentorship and a lot of sort of assessing where you all are and then helping you kind of find your way, and making sure that you were set up for success. Now, Sergey, you have a lot of, I think you have a unique perspective in all of this because of your the kind of breadth of experience you've had with Magento over the years. So same question to you. I mean, what is it like working with the Magento team again?
Well, so first of all, then I want to say thank you for you, because I started my path with Magenta with your courses for Magenta 1, where you invited everyone for burgers. Yeah, for my experience with Magenta, working with Magenta team is actually the same, because I left Magenta in 2018, in the end of the 2018, and it's better to ask me how to work with merchant websites than with Magenta, but I can tell you what is the difference. I'm working with the same people I worked before, and honestly saying, almost everything is the same except time zone. Of course, for Ukraine, it's not, it's not very convenient, because you see, it's night right here in Ukraine, but still, it's almost the same.
And it's tomorrow for our other panelists. Yeah, that's been the time zone challenge is I think anyone that's worked with teams in multiple time zones, it's definitely a challenge. Hey, Michelle. It's been fun watching. It's been fun watching this process go along, and I think we've got. I've been doing interviews this week with the teams. We've got way more successes and enjoyable outcomes. I think there were a couple tracks where we're kind of scratching our heads a little bit, but for the most part, we've seen some substantial lift from everyone's efforts. And just for background information, I mean, this has involved around almost 40 developers across 10 different tracks. Like Chika was working on TCO, like a TCO project, total cost of ownership. So this was the upgrade tooling, and there was a presentation on that earlier. Joy was working on Adobe stock integration, which actually wrapped up successfully last week and has transitioned over to another team. And then Sergey's working on the storefront API project. So a breadth of experiences here. So given those experiences, I will ask each of you, maybe in the same order, what is your biggest takeaway as a developer participating in this program? So what is something that you think will stick with you after this program is finished? Joy, I'll give that one to you.
For me, probably it's not saying no to things that look scary to you. Yeah. When I first joined the team, there are things that are like test scripts and those sort of things that are not usually being performed in our organization. So it was something that's really new to me. And I'm really thankful actually to the team that they told me that you have to learn that because it will definitely help you. And at first I was really like skeptical, like should I? But maybe I can't do that. But then yeah, I took that task and I learned a lot from it. So I'm just really thankful for them.
Okay, Chika, what about you? What's your long-term takeaway from this program?
The thing is that I got to learn a lot of technical stacks like DevOps and something related to testing and like writing tests, something. These are the basically technical aspects. But apart from this, I also got to learn about since I'm working on a product which is being created from scratch. So I got to learn a lot of more things related to the planning and the initial level of the planning and requirements which a product is basically required for the long-term goal. And that is going to be very helpful in my case, because like the technical stack I can learn by myself, but being in such an organization, I got to learn about the initial level of the planning and requirements of any product. So it's a great experience, which I can say that I'm going to take away from here.
Okay, very cool. And Sergey, to you.
Well, for me, from first of all, it's valuable information, because project we have started with Storefront API. It's a new generation of Magento. Maybe it will become Magenta 3. I hope so.
Oh, don't let Anton Krill hear you say that.
Yeah. And I'm very proud that we started working on this, and that I started working on this, and we know information that other developers don't know. And this, of course, will help us in the future when Magento 3 will be released. I hope it will be very soon, at least in a few years. So it's our biggest takeaway I got.
Interesting. So for you, it's really about the that future vision into where the code's headed. Cool. I mean, and actually, and that is kind of a benefit of the program, I guess, that maybe all of you could agree with, that, well, you're not only just getting a preview of, but you're helping to build how this is going to work in the future. I think that's that's pretty spectacular. So maybe we've got just under 10 minutes left. I've managed, Anton was asking what I just said. Sergey said the Magento 3 word that we don't like to talk about, Anton. I think as someone who used to manage developers back when I was part of Blue Acorn, one of the things that was always interesting to me, and I guess even more broadly in my role at Magento since then, is how is this program hopefully positively affected your Magento development? Like, what do you think? So Joy, actually, I really like the way you said it earlier. Like you've learned to maybe not say no quite so quickly or quite so easily. So what's the thing that you might bring into your own company going forward? Like especially when you have junior developers coming in and you want to set them up for success. What might you take away from the program? Is it maybe testing or something else?
Aside from testing, maybe it's how I see the tasks. There are tasks that are minor, there are major tasks, but then at the end of the day, you have to do something in order to progress that task. And maybe not every day you can have big progress, but as long as you do as long as you try to accomplish the task little by little, at the end of the day, you won't know you're actually done with it. And that's actually something that I've told some of the junior devs that I've had in the past. And and aside from that, also is to ask questions from the people around you, because you're working as a team and you're not working individually. And it's not bad to have someone look at your work. Everybody needs a fresh eyes to tell you or to point out something that you might have missed. So yeah, that's something that.
Very cool. Very cool. I like to hear that. Chika, what about for you? Something that's got maybe some long-term impact.
Long-term impact, like I will get more in that technical perspective. Like I learned a lot of things related to automation, and basically for the automation. So and the CI/CD pipelines and other things. So I would like to bring this culture in my organization too, to have everything automated, like with whatever the technology is growing and something. So we should be up to date and whatever the things. And I will also encourage my all the clients to upgrade more frequently because it is going to be easier now.
Hopefully we can all work together to make those upgrades smooth, you know, lower total cost involved. Very good, very good. And then Sergey, what about you? I'm just kind of curious again, given your, you know, your history on both sides of things. What's your takeaway?
Saying everything changed even from 2018. I was in core development in 2018 last time, and honestly saying a lot of things changed from that time. And right now, for me, the biggest takeaways that will change my future in development is that everything changes. Okay, so PHP Word, it's not the same that it was when I, first started working with Magenta. With Magenta 1, with Magenta 2, it's completely different. And it's keeping changing very quickly. And I learned that I need to stay, on a wave. I am from object wave, so I need to stay on a wave, always be on the wave. And it's very hard. And for this 3 or even 4 months, I understand this. And in the future, I'll try, to implement all last technologies we have. It's always challenging because we don't know right estimations for the clients. We couldn't say, hey, this will take, for example, 200 hours. It's usually when you are working with the systems that is not developing, it's very easy to do. But with developing system, it's very hard because you are learning during development. But it's very cool because it's keeps you compatible with other agencies. So it's the biggest thing.
Yeah, that actually makes a lot of sense too. I'm reminded of how much a lot of us had to kind of catch up with the wave when Magento 2 came out, and all of a sudden we had to worry about things like Composer and lots of other stuff that we just hadn't been used to. Well, we're coming up to the end of our half hour. Just like any other panel, I think there are plenty more questions that could be asked. But I want to thank you all for participating in this event so late in your day. And thanks to Sam and Noah for their perspective. And I'd say, everyone, you might want to stay tuned because I know this is it's been a really interesting and important project for us internally. And I'd love to see, I'd love for us to continue this kind of collaboration down the road. So we'll have to see what happens. But again, Joy, Chika, Sergey, Sam, and Noah, thank you all so much for your participation.